Hi, this is Zap, and welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast.
Welcome back to another quick reset segment with Zap, your girl here. And this is all about talking about what's on my mind. Discussions that I've wanted to have for the longest, that I probably didn't make a video of, but I just want to talk about it with y'all. Of course, I encourage you to have an open mindset, to hear us out, because you might learn a thing or two. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about stupid purchases, dumb purchases that I have made as a collector. This has been something I've been wanting to talk about since, once again, 2023. A lot of these discussions you're going to notice that I've added saved in my notes for a very long time, but I just couldn't find the right moment to bring it up and have a mature discussion with my fam. And I think now's the time. A special thanks to TJ the Gamer for actually encouraging me to have this discussion, because the way it all started is one day he was looking at my collection and he was telling me, you know what would be so cool, Zap? I would love to know the history behind your collection. And why did you even start collecting? And the history behind each item that you add to your collection. He's like, I would love to know games that you own that you personally don't consider them to be as great as people make it seem. And I basically let that idea kind of simmer, because I was like, you know what? He does have a good point. You know, I have so many things in my collection, and since then I've downsized 4, 5, 6 times, and I still have a pretty decent size when it comes to my collection, because, you know, priorities change and your life pretty much just keeps changing. You know, it just is what it is. You know, life keeps moving on and your interests and your hobbies change. And I've slowly figured out what has happened and the shift that I've had when it comes to me as a collector. So to give you a little bit of more history in a nutshell, when I started collecting, I wanted to just go back to my childhood and recover those items that meant something to me back in the day. Whether it be the McDonald's Flintstone mugs, whether it be Roger Rabbit's lunchbox, and so much more. Like, those were actually the items I was going towards, because for me, it meant something. It meant a memory from when I grew up back in New Jersey, when I used to go to my school and have lunch and be excited because it was in my Roger Rabbit lunchbox that meant something to me. Sipping some Coca-Cola from my Flintstone mugs when it reminded me of the time when I went with my family to watch a movie or to sit down and watch cartoons, the Flintstone episodes. And those are happy memories that I have attached to these items. But slowly but surely, it shifted into, okay, I missed out on a bunch of stuff. Why not go back and now as an adult, try to go for those things that I never owned or I never had the opportunity to experience for myself, and finally be able to own it, that sense of ownership, you know? So I just did it. I just started going wild and basically collecting every single thing. Like, the possibilities are endless. I could go in any direction when it came to collecting. And most certainly that's what I did. I started collecting magazines, I started collecting board games, I started collecting blockbuster items, I started collecting trying to make a full collection for that was basically Resident Evil theme. I tried to go for a full collection for my 3DS, which I still own till this day because I really do love. There's certain collections that when you think about it, even for downsizing, like, I can never get rid of, because those are the items that I truly enjoy. Because for me, collecting is more of than just having something on my shelf to just showcase. For me, I like to play my games. I like to learn more about them. I like to dig deeper into the history of a certain studio or a certain game franchise. So I'm more invested in other reasons than just like, look at me, you know, I got this game that cost me so and so much, and this is how hard it was to find it. But you know, every collector has their own motives and their own reasons of why they do what they want to do. But those are my reasons. And my mindset just kind of started shifting, and it was due to pressure. You know, when you jump into the world of collecting, you start seeing different type of collectors, and you start seeing the way they collect and what they do and what they do not do, the do's and don'ts. And I let that in a way affect me and change my mindset for gaming. Like, one of the perfect examples when it comes to that was when I started collecting for Resident Evil. I wanted to go for every single Resident Evil game. And at first, I didn't care about, imports. I was just focusing on US soil. So any game that was released in US soil. And that included, games on all platforms. So I was just trying to go for a certain platform. And once you know it, I was carried away by people saying, oh, get the GameCube ones because those are the most expensive ones, or get a game from this certain platform because that one is more, more respected among collectors, more valued and stuff like that. And I spent a lot of money. I went through a lot of trouble in acquiring these items. And at the end of the day, it was not even to show off to anyone. It was just for me to say, I did it. I think I was trying to prove a point of like, oh, I can collect like you guys do. Look at me, I got this game, look at me, oh, I must be important, like acknowledge me. But at the end of the day, I just looked at it and then the questions arise like, why did I do it? Why did I do it? Why did I pick up this game? So as I mentioned, I went through so many phases in my collecting journey. And I recognized that a lot of these things were just, I lost all sense when collecting. Like, for example, one of the things that I did that I was so proud of at the moment, but now I think about it and I'm like, wow, why did you do it? Because the game is not even that great. Was I went onto a platform where they have auctions and they sell off games, and you bet for an item, and it was for a copy of Resident Evil Survivor, which is not great. Like, this game is so bad. It's such a bad game. But because I wanted to get not only the mainstream games, I wanted to get all the other games that were just Resident Evil themed. Nowadays, I don't even have this game anymore on my shelf. Gotta be completely honest. I sold it, could care less. Because it was more the thrill of, oh my God, I gotta get it. I gotta get my hands on a copy. Even if I don't own a Sony console, even though there's no way for me to play it, even though that meant just it collecting dust on my shelf, because let's be honest, I'm never going to get a console to even play it. Some people might do it, but in my case, I'm like, look, I don't got that much space, nor do I got the funds to go after every single console to justify all the purchases that I'm making right now. So that's a perfect example of a game that I'm like, I spent too much. Another dumb game that I'll never be able to play is Resident Evil Code Veronica. I've got it in so many versions. I got the GameCube version, I got the Sega Dreamcast version. I did so many things. I Frankenstein personally this one just to have a complete copy. Like, the amount of work that I went through just to complete it, to have it in my shelf, is ridiculous. And at the end of the day, I don't even like the game. I'm never going to play it because I even own a digital copy on Xbox that I could play it whenever I want. I don't have a Sega Dreamcast. I don't have the other platforms. So for me, it's like a complete waste of time. It's a stupid purchase, in my opinion. It may not be for other people, but we're talking about my collection. Another game that I tried to play with my husband and it was ridiculous was Resident Evil 6. I see what they were trying to do. The graphics are nice. It does look pretty, but the gameplay is terrible. Like it's so different from your traditional Resident Evil controls that I cannot bring myself to play this game. And I think it's just a very wasteful, a lot of wasteful. It's a dumpster, okay? I don't even know how to explain it. I don't have words to explain it. And I'm agitated and a little irritated thinking about that I spent money on this. But that's the collector side of me, right? Another game that I spent quite a bit of money and there's a story behind it is Resident Evil Umbrella Corps. The only reason why I'm never going to get rid of it is because the collector side of me says, wow, I spent a lot of trouble even trying to find a copy. And I was lucky enough to find one through eBay and yes, negotiate with a private seller and give them the amount that I thought and he thought was fair for the game. I played it a little bit. Turns out to be it's an online game that relies on other people playing the game if you have a copy. So I only played it once thanks to someone who owned a PS4 during that time. But right now I currently don't own a Sony console, nor am I going to pick up one. So it was a complete waste of time. And one that really was a waste of time, but this one I'm going to be biased because I do at least like the franchise. But realistically thinking back, I'm like, would I waste that amount of money in buying the game now, again, with a family, married? Probably not. And it's Yokai Watch 3. Yo, this game goes for an insane amount of money. Mine is still sealed. I haven't even opened it, but it easily goes for over $400, $500, $600. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, if you told me once again, Zap, you have the opportunity to repurchase this game or use the money for something else, I would tell you I would use the money for something else. Yo, $400, $500, $600, I don't care what the amount is. I can use that to make a car payment. I can use that to buy something else for my family that my kiddos need. I would invest it into other creative ideas or opportunities, whether it be, if you're trying to build a business or you're doing something for yourself. Like the options are endless. And I think that's what I now acknowledge and recognize as a collector, that this hobby is expensive. Like collecting is an expensive hobby. But two, I started questioning myself, like, why do you even do it? Like, why do you even do it? Is there a reason? And I figured out that that is exactly the reason. I lost myself in the process. What started as a home welcoming idea of, I want to recover each item that I had in my childhood, ended up being, let me just go for expensive games, hard to find games, try to go for complete sets, try to prove myself in the collecting world, and then hear a bunch of nonsense about how many other games people have in their basement or in their game room. And it was ridiculous because always there's going to be somebody who thinks they're better than you that will determine the value of you as a collector based on the size of your game room or the size of your collection, or will make up stories about you just because they don't like you at the end of the day, because it can be a very selfish community. It is what it is. And don't get me wrong, I've met a lot of good collectors. J-Love, shout out to my sis from another mister, who is the most down-to-earth friend that I can now say I have. I've met a lot of great collectors and have made great friendships because of them. But there is a up and downfall to collecting. And at least for me, I'm sharing my own personal story of how that's been. And I came to the conclusion that I was going to downsize. So I ended up downsizing my collection several times. And if you ask me right now how I feel about it, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I feel like I'm not missing out. I feel like I'm not trying to collect for other people out there or for other collectors or for self-validation. Every game I now have is games that I enjoy, I'm passionate about, I would love to play, and I'm not ashamed to showcase it. Even the games that I just showcased right now, I still at least respect where I started, where I was, and where I'm at right now. And yeah, if I can remember any other games that were dumb in my own opinion that I own, I will definitely probably make a part 2 of this. But let me know in the comments below. Are you a collector, or have you considered entering the collecting scene? What do you think about it? Is it a yay? Is it a nay for you? And if you are a collector, let's have a brutally honest conversation right now, and let me know, what are some unnecessary purchases that you've probably made in the past and that you kind of regret right now? Because let's face it, they were pretty dumb. I would love to have this conversation with you. Don't forget that you can listen to this on any of your favorite podcast streaming platforms. Just type in Reset and Zap. You're gonna see it available for you to watch and listen to right now. I would appreciate any ratings, any reviews, because it helps us tweak the content to make it entertaining for you guys, but also streamline it where it's easy for me to reproduce. I appreciate you watching, and don't forget to always do a quick reset and zap for the week. Say bye, Leon. Bye. Now you and I are going to play some really interesting games right now. What do you want to watch Postman Pat? You want to do it? Yes, we do. All right, we're out.